It's a beautiful Tuesday morning and we'll bid you welcome to another interesting edition of VOP this morning on Voice of the People Television. For the next 2 hours, we'll have a quite interesting lineup for us to, x-ray this morning. And one of the topic of conversation is the presidency announces ministerial committee for the President Muhammad Buhari's state burial. Also on a radar, Nigerians are divided as mixed reactions fuels the country over NAS shuts down plenary for days. That's National Assembly shut down plenary for days. I am Fina. Okay, Chuku.
All right. Well, it's the country truly is in a somber mood as the nation observes 7-day mourning, and of course today has been declared public holiday. Oh well, we'll be focusing on the life and times of the president, and we'll also look at a few other issues. A rule of law broken. Akpabio kicks back as Senate president, fights court order to recall suspended Senator Natasha. Well, more like what the Senate is saying is they will wait to receive the certified true copies and then they will examine it before deciding on next line of action. So basically, that's what the Senate is saying. I am Moses Humphrey. And as the nation mourns President, we'll also be looking at a few other issues there, but as the nation mourns former President Muhammadu Buhari, Chukwuma Okoro decides to come out of hiding. Well, he joins us today. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Moses. Good morning, Fina.
Good
to be back
today.
on set.
Oh, I'm so happy to have
I
you
missed
back.
you guys.
I missed you too. Stop it, I like it.
Thank you very much, Fifi. Thank you very much.
Good to have you back.
Oh, well, Moses already introduced me. I am Chukwuma Okoro, and talking about stories that are trending within the polity, away from the death and burial of the president and what is going on in the Senate between Natasha and Akpabio. A faction of the Labour Party, LP, has issued a fiery demand to the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission, LISEC, calling for the immediate cancellation of the just concluded local government elections held on Saturday, alleging that the process was rigged and did not reflect the will of the people. While in a strongly worded statement, the faction insisted that the polls were marred by irregularities, voter suppression, and lack of transparency, urging LASEC to conduct a fresh, credible election that truly represents grassroots voices or risk a legitimacy crisis and mass resistance from the electorate. Well, as a lot of people saw this coming, I think in the 57 LCDAs, I understand that the PDP won one council area in part
250, is it 75? Yes, 375.
Okay.
375.
Council areas.
Yeah, out of 376 council areas.
Okay.
PDP won.
No, okay.
PDP won.
Wards.
APC.
Out of the 300 something wards. Was in those council areas and
yes.
LCDs. PDP won how many? One
out of 376.
Exactly the point. So a lot of people expected this to happen. And some were like, oh, that PDP, somebody described it as a massive win for the PDP. Were they expecting that the PDP wouldn't win one seat? The Labour Party got none at all. But it's also emblematic of what happens at the local government level. It is not strange, it is not peculiar to Lagos State. It happened in Abia State, where I come from. It happened in Rivers State. It happens in almost all the states. That tells you clearly that the local government areas, which is a creation of the Constitution, still remain under the terms of the governors. Because constitutionally, the governors, the House of Assembly, who are more like under the terms of the governors, are required by law to make laws for the good governance of local council areas. So by that, the House of Assembly also makes laws for LASEC, for the state independent electoral commissions. And guess who appoints the chairman and members of the board? It is the governor, just like the president appoints members and board, chairman and board members of INEC. So the thing is like it cascades, from what happens at the center to the state subnational levels. So we see an Alex Oti that moved from Labour Party because there was crisis in that party, and within 1 month, the Zenith Labour Party cleared all the council seats in Abia State. And Fubara also did the same thing within 3 weeks of moving from the PDP to the APP. The APP cleared all the council seats. And I think in Akwa Ibom, they gave Akpabio one and all of those things. So it happens everywhere. So yes, people should stop beaming the searchlight on Lagos. It's a national malaise. It's a national problem that we need to talk about. And it brings back the issue of local government autonomy. Are we able to recalibrate all the systems, the processes to ensure that these local councils actually become autonomous? At this point, they are not. So the election speaks to what we need to deal with in the coming days. It's not even about 2027 election. It's also about deepening democracy at the grassroots level. For now, we are still no way. We still have a very long journey to travel in ensuring that, look, grassroots democracies take root in all the local council areas in Nigeria. Unfortunately, that is what it is.
You know, for me, when the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, when he read out his speech yesterday, congratulating the Lagosians and every other person in Lagos who, according to him, he also applauded the people for having faith in APC when he was trying to say that the 20 local governments and the 7 LCDAs, you know, belong to the party. That shows that the APC party is working very well. You understand? And when I heard also about a senator, I think Senator Bokuno, saying that she could not cast her vote because of the fact that her polling unit was also changed and her name was not there. You know, her name didn't make it to the list that LASEC, you know, should have for the people who are, I'm talking about the accredited voters now that will be able to cast their vote. I was okay, fine. I'm looking forward to seeing that place where we'll have Lagos State also going, but because LASEC chairperson said something before the election, they created more polling units, over 13,000 of them. Okay. Yes, so that people can have these polling units closer to them. And then at the end of the day, they also did not do what I believe should have been the needful by creating more awareness to tell people, okay, if you've been voting at this spot before now, this is where your polling unit is located now. We decided to shift this thing closer so that you can be able to participate without being disenfranchised. They didn't do that. That's one part. And then the second part again, we also, for example, in Amo or Dauphin, where some person actually said that they did not have electoral material for them to go cast their vote. Amo Dauphin's result made it to be the number 1 or even the number 2 after the Lagos Island. The one that came up on board that Nigerians were, you know, that news outlets actually carried. I'm talking about the results that they got there from the chairmanship election. Then, the moment I saw that discrepancy, I know that there is problem. There is fire on the mountain. Yes. Now, when you talk about governors not letting local government to be autonomous because of the fact that they still have a hold grip on them from the JAC allocation and all that, and every other fact that they had the ones that would decide who should be, they should make this thing to be for the people to decide. Before the Lagos State local government election, we heard about the internal wrangling with the APC. Some persons were disgruntled over the fact that, you know, they believe that the process of the primaries was not free and fair. And we saw some persons state protest also in the Lausa, protesting the outcome of the primary election that led to this particular one that we had, the local government election of July 12 on Saturday. And, you know, I believe that if Nigerians at this point in time will wake up to say we have to demand for our right, not just for Labour Party now, not just for Asogwa to come up to say that, you know, they are not happy with the outcome of the election, they are calling for, you know, denullification and another election to be organized. I believe that every Nigeria, every well-meaning Nigerian actually at this point should understand that voting is your responsibility to decide who should be there. And not just that, to local government election is the most important of all the elections, not the state, not the federal. And if, for example, the LASEC should keep to their words when they say if they heard or see any, you know, abnormality that come up during this election, they will cancel the election and organize another one. Now that people are talking about the fact that they were being disenfranchised, I believe they will look into it very well, cross the T's and dot the I's, do their proper investigation. And if they have to cancel the election to have another re-election in Lagos State, even with the applaud that the governor have given, I believe also that this is a wake-up call for Nigerians. The people I saw playing balls on Saturday, people that couldn't go out to cast their vote, people that believe that the election results have already been decided. It's a call for you to get your PVC and go participate in that election if there will be anything like re-election in Lagos State.
Well, I think the complaint from a lot of people is bothered on the fact that some political party logos were not present on the ballot box. So yes, a lot of Nigerians, a lot of Lagosians feel, a lot of Lagosians are aggrieved at the way the elections turned out. But like Chukuma rightly said, was anybody really expecting anything different? I was not expecting anything different. But well, people like Koforala, Bokno Akirele are calling for the cancellation. And I know that the LASIK chairperson did say that if irregularities are discovered, the elections will be cancelled. Well, and maybe have elections conducted again. But let's see if the complaints of people will be looked into, and maybe election cancelled. But I don't see that happening. Anyway, let's move away from that conversation. Let's talk about something else now. In what seems to be a bold move stirring national conversation, Nigerian women with disabilities are demanding 5% of the proposed 181 additional reserved legislative seats to be allocated specifically to them, citing years of marginalization and exclusion from political participation. Now, speaking through various advocacy groups, they argue that any expansion of political representation without deliberate inclusion of persons with disabilities, especially women, would be a continuation of systemic neglect. Now, their call challenges lawmakers to not just expand numbers, but to ensure genuine inclusivity in Nigeria's evolving democratic space. It's interesting that we're still on the issue of exclusive seats. We're asking for exclusive seats for women. We're asking for exclusive seats for persons with disabilities, and exclusive seats for women with disabilities. Now, it just goes to point to the fact that it's not a level playing field, in Nigeria, where we still have people that are discriminated against. It's quite unfortunate. You see somebody in a wheelchair, and the look on some people's face will make them feel bad about the situation that they are in. Quite unfortunate. Quite unfortunate. Roosevelt, former president of America, was on the wheelchair, and he wasn't discriminated against. He goes down in history as one of the greatest presidents America ever had. And in countries, it should be a level playing field ordinarily. The problem I have with women asking for specific seats means that they still feel like they are not up to the task, and they should be giving, in a race, they want to be given some leverage, start some meters ahead before we catch up with you. The system should be such that the nomination of interest forms and the rest should be brought down across bar, and everybody. Now, if the number of women that we have in Nigeria, I was trying to look up the statistics. It's quite difficult to find, a holistic statistics of women to men in Nigeria. But if we look at the number of women in Nigeria, I think they have quite the numbers. And if the women in Nigeria come together and say, look, we are standing behind a woman who is contesting for a political position, I am pretty sure in a free and fair election, the women will take the day. I'm pretty sure the women will take the day in a free and fair election. But that's not what we have. In fact, we have women who work against their fellow women here in Nigeria. But that's a different conversation. In countries like Namibia currently is run by women, is run by women. The president is a woman. The vice president is a woman. The president of the Senate in Namibia is a woman. And that's breaking the record. Namibia is an African country, in case you don't know. That's breaking the record. And I think the rest of Africa should take a cue. And, let there be a level playing field. There shouldn't be segregation. Those on wheelchair, those that may have one disability or the other. There should be a level playing field where everybody should be allowed to contest elections. And of course, when it comes to treating persons with disabilities Right. We haven't gotten there yet. I mean, I said it here the other day. Banks, institutions don't have special parking spaces, special elevators or, staircases where these people can pass. People that build structures forget that there are persons with disabilities that might want to use the facility. That is where we should start from, really. They should be given that. Anyway.
All right. I want to add to your list of women that are in office. I think the Vice President of Ghana is a woman. One professor.
Yeah,
the immediate past Vice President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris, is a woman too. So, but I'm trying to get a fine interpretation of what you mean by level playing field. Level playing field is.
It doesn't seem like a level playing field where the forms for women,
okay,
or those with disabilities and women in general, is reduced.
Okay, so are you?
I'm asking for everything to be reduced.
For everything to be reduced for women.
For everybody to be on the same level.
Everybody.
The same 1,000 cut across.
Exactly.
So essentially, that is what you mean. That is the appropriate description of a level playing field.
I mean.
So what you are now saying is that women with disabilities should not have special advantages. More like Affirmation Act. You know about the Affirmation Act, where certain seats, certain positions are reserved for
special advantages.
Based on the fact that there are also special disabilities.
Exactly. There are people with special needs.
Because I understand where you are coming from. Because ever since the women went to Beijing, they have been asking for more and more and more and more. Even when they have everything, they say that they are the weaker vessels. But in actuality, they are the stronger vessels. And they've been asking for more. So, but unfortunately for them, somehow, they've not been able to realize all that they've been asking for, despite the fact that I don't want it to be more like something that is campaigning for feminism. Because when women say they want special seats reserved for them in parliament, and a certain political parties came up and said, look, we are going to reserve 33 or 30% of seats in parliament or in the executive for women. Was that achieved? They were not able to achieve all of that. So I think if you talk about creating a level playing field, a certain level of people, like the disabled people, will be out of politics, out of business, because you don't expect, for people, Moses, what I'm clearly trying to say, is that there should be special provisions.
Okay. For PWDs.
For PWDs, not necessarily women. Not necessarily women. If we talk about creating a level playing field, I'm thinking that we should take out people with disabilities so that we can give them special advantages. But women are able to compete. We've seen classes where women beat men, in examinations and all of that. I think there are about 5 banks in Nigeria that women are the managing directors and all of that.
Zenith is one.
And that Zenith is one, Fidelity is another one. And so there's a level playing field. People compete.
I bet to disagree. There's no level playing field when it gets to politics. There's level playing field in every other sphere of life. Now, when it gets to politics, that is when the men, especially in Nigeria, with all due respect to
Fina, there's a level playing field. It's just that women are unable to compete.
They are competing. They are being shut down on a daily basis.
If women are competing effectively, they should be able to sweep all the seats, because if you go to polling booths, if you see the lineup, women are more.
Let's bring it down.
The point that you made. But unfortunately, they don't even support their own.
Let's bring it down.
They vote against women. Look at what's going on with Natasha now. The moment her case broke, it was women that, the women folk was like, go and sit down and all of that and all of that. Very few women.
People that were sponsored, actually, and we knew all the
But why would women allow themselves to be sponsored?
We also have a woman who stood her ground to say what is happening in the National Assembly.
What's the percentage? What's the percentage of women?
That is the problem. I'm happy you're going there.
Yes.
Bring it back. Let's take it back
to our individual. So there's a level playing field. It's just that women are not protecting their own.
No, they are not. There's no level playing field in Nigeria, with all due respect to the nation.
Do you expect that the parliament we should reserve like 40% of seats for women?
I want us to take this
and allow women to compete among themselves.
Back to where this whole issue started. This whole problem we're having at this point in time began. If you check Nigerians on homes in Nigeria, you find out that 99.9% of Nigerian homes are against women being in politics to start with. No husband wants the wife to be at the forefront when it gets to politics.
Now, you people are not competing. It has nothing to do with the husband and wife. You are not competing.
We are.
Okay, so you want the law made now that every man must support the wife.
That is not the thing. Politics. That is not the thing. Now,
so what is
now what I'm saying is this: if we want to tell ourselves the truth, we should come up to actually tell ourselves the truth. In Nigeria, as the case may be, women are still being subjected to some things that are not even supposed to make it to the.
That is not politics.
That is politics. That is politics. That is politics. Because I could remember there was a time I went to meddle into a particular case, and I've been a relationship coach for some years now. Someone called me and said, "Please come, we need your opinion on this," and I went. And then guess what the problem is? The lady actually have a wonderful thing. She has so much on her that she can bring for the community to move forward. Guess what? The people in that community were of the opinion that a woman can never be there. Why should we champion a woman to be there? And then I came in and I asked, okay, fine, please calm down. Why won't she be there? And they say she's a woman that's called to ease herself, will now rule, the one that will be on top of every other thing happening in this community. And I reminded them of the strength of their woman does. And they said, no, don't go there. That is it. I said, why is it that one thing?
Okay, so what are you proposing?
What I'm proposing actually is this. I am of the opinion that women should be given enough chance. They should be, now when you're talking about level playing ground, I don't think Nigeria has gotten to that level for us to have a level playing ground. Okay. Now, women in Nigerian politics are still being subjected to things that shouldn't even make, like, there are things that when you listen to, when I listen to personal as a person, I get hurt, I feel bad. Okay. If you go to World Trade Organization, these are places where we have, you talked about Namibia, you talked about Ghana. These are people that have value for women. They understand the importance of women, actually. So they understand.
Don't have value for women in
I'm sorry to say, absolutely, they don't.
Okay, but for me, I think what we should do is to create a special position for people with disabilities.
That is already there.
Not just men,
we are looking
men
at
and women.
Women, everybody with PWDs. That's already
there. It's a sensitive conversation.
Very.
Let's get into another conversation, shall we? The University of Ibadan has come under fire for suspending students who protested against skyrocketing tuition fees. Now, this a move Amnesty International strongly condemned as a violation of human rights and freedom of expression. The affected students who peacefully demonstrated against what they described as unaffordable and unjustifiable fee hike now face academic setback, sparking outrage across campuses and social media. Well, Amnesty International says the suspension reflects a growing intolerance toward dissent in Nigeria's educational institution, warning that punishing students for speaking out will only deepen tension in an already strained academic environment. Truly, we are seeing a clampdown on dissenting voices in all sectors. I mean, we're still talking about Raye, that's her name, right? Raye.
The NYSC core member.
The youth core member who spoke out about how she felt about suffering. And then we heard much later that she was given an extension in her service year. You know, so people don't want people to speak up. And it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. And, you know, it even goes into the home front, because I was speaking to a friend of mine put up something on a WhatsApp group that yesterday Hassan said something. Hassan said something about the economy, Nigeria, Buhari that passed and everything, and she just held him and squeezed his mouth and said, hey, don't talk, don't go outside and see this kind of a thing. I don't want them to you know, come and arrest you. And you know, and I asked, you don't even want the boy to speak up even in his house. So how then do you now groom people that will stand for their rights? You're preventing your child from speaking up within the four walls of your own home. So how then? You know, so we are beginning to cow ourselves, and it's really unfortunate. Now, for the University of Ibadan, I think something should be looked into it. Those that have been punished for speaking up, there should be some sort of address done, and you know, the institution should do something about it. Basically, I think I'll just leave this.
Okay, for me, the illustration you made now speaks to the sense of surrender, you know, that pervades the Nigerian landscape. You know, people are not speaking out, not because they don't know what to say or they don't have what to say, but they are simply still scared of what might
We're
happen
censoring
to them.
ourselves.
You
Self-censorship.
Is that self-censorship?
Yes,
I
that's what
think
it
for
is.
me, it's more like a sense of surrender, not even censorship. Nigerians have surrendered, you know, like what can we do? We just have to allow these things to run maybe in the next 8 years, okay, in the next 6 years, in the next 2 years, we might be lucky to have somebody
And I think
or some space.
government has a role in this. When we've seen government arrest people that have spoken up against its policies and the rest, they have instilled fear.
Fear, that is the sense of surrender. That's the sense of surrender that I speak to. The sense of surrender. Nigerians have surrendered. But anyway, what can we do? But that is not what it should be. Because see, if people, what eventually happens is that there is this constant friction, you know, between the divide, haves and have not, you know, the up and the classes and all of that. There's that constant friction. You know what happens? The day these frictions, you know, will spin out of control, it will essentially boil over. So it is better that the space is free for people to express themselves, for people to vent, so that the government can even realize, look, this is what we are doing right, or this is what we are not doing right. Clamping down on people is more like bottling sensations that one day it might just, if you unbottle it, it might just explode and the country might just unravel, and that is not exactly what we want. As far as this issue is concerned, my worry here is that, look, the universities, are they clearly autonomous? Why is it that universities are increasing school fees per semester, per session, and all of that? Now it's University of Ibadan. The other time it was University of Lagos. The other time it was Michael Obara University in Umuahia, and all around the country. So why is it difficult for them to harmonize all of this and make sure that, because I think the federal universities are still being supervised by the Federal Ministry of Education and the NUC. So why is it difficult for them to harmonize all of these things? So it speaks to the fact that, look, all is not well with the education system. So beyond talking about clamping down on dissenting voices, we should also look at the issue of having to fix rates that are affordable to parents. A lot of parents are going through a lot at this moment.
It's a shame that the people who benefited largely from Nigeria, you know, based on the free education that some of them enjoyed, are the ones actually hiking these fees, and also assaulting students who decide to talk about the hikes that they have been subjected to pay. If not the school fees, it will be hostel fees and all that. But anyway, I believe your state government will also look into this, and also the member of ASU and also federal government should weigh in and know what is really happening in UI. And that's how far we can go, you know, talking about trending stories and trending topics that keep the social media buzzing. And without wasting much time, we'll have to take a quick peep on the cover page of the national dailies. And I would like to start off from the Nigerian Tribune today. And the banner headline here reads, all set for Buhari's burial. Tinubu to receive body in Katsina. Right after that story, body to arrive by noon. Interment set for 2 p.m. today. FG declares public holiday. Condolence registers to be opened in MDAs, ICC, Nigerian embassies, missions abroad. NAN suspends legislative activities for 1 week. And then we have a pictorial there, and beside that pictorial, Awujale, Ijebode stands still as Oba at Daytona is buried. Abiodun, Sowolu, Oshoba, Daniel, Dangote others in attendance. The Patriots shift Constitutional Summit to Wednesday to honor Buhari Awujale. Adeleke to Aregbesola, Oshun people have not forgotten your records as governor. And those are the stories you will find on the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune. Also, there's another pictorial that will have the Vice President paying a condolence visit to the family of the late President Muhammadu Buhari in London.
All right, then, let's quickly take the Vanguard as well. From the Vanguard, the banner headline here reads, Buhari, Tinubu sets up 9-man committee. Burial holds today. Declares today public holiday. Shatima pays condolence visits to Buhari's family in London. I was with Buhari in same hospital. Abdusalami Abubakar. Presidency postpones special FEC meeting. Okay. Presidency postpones special FEC. NAS suspends all legislative activities till July 22. Kan, Amechi, Oshomole, Saraki, Marwa, Olanri, okay, Hashim, others pay tribute, okay. Buhari left indelible imprint on page of national history, NSCIA. And then you have the picture of the family, Aisha Buhari, the rest of the family, and Vice President Shatima there, as he condoles with the family. And then underneath you have at the burial of Awujale in Ijebuland. Visa overstay, US threatens Nigerians with deportation, permanent travel ban. Why I support ADC's coalition but remain in PDP. Lamido. More tributes as Awujale is buried in Ijebu-Ode. And also we have, well, I think that's pretty much the, well, there's a headline here. Dangote plans seaports to enhance export of fertilizers. Others. Dangote plans seaports to enhance export of fertilizers. Others. Well, those are the headlines on the cover page of the Vanguard newspaper. Okay,
let's quickly run through this day newspaper. Awujale buried amid tight security as traditionally storm burial venue midway. Ijebu-Ode Council closes major markets. George Bakare, others mourn.
All right then. And then a few other headlines there.
Okay, a few other headlines. Like Tinubu leads delegation of to burial of Buhari to receive remains at Katsina Airport today. And constitute State Burial Committee. Order 25 fake members to Daura. Ex-President Corpses Movement delayed by documentation. Federal government reschedules fake session to honor late leader. Declares today a public holiday. Jonathan Akufo-Addo visit Vice President in London. Pay tribute to Buhari. Now there's a picture there. Shetima's condolence visit to Mama Daura in London. I think the Vice President made a visit to the nephew of the president, Malam Mama Daura, in London, and standing beside him there is the Chief of Staff to the President, Mr. Femi Bajabiamila. And that's all from this day newspaper.
And that's how far we can go. Taking a quick peep on the cover page of the National Daily. Who want to join Chukwuma and Moses for the newspaper review proper, and that'll be on top of the hour, 10 a.m. here on Voice of the People Television. We'll go on a quick break, and when we'll come back, we'll dissect the first topic of conversation, which is the presidency announcing ministerial committee for the President Muhammadu Buhari state burial. Do well to stay with us.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Ever wonder what inspires your favorite gospel artists? Explore and discover the rich heritage of continental gospel music and how this transformative journey has evolved and shaped cultures around the world. As we dig deep into archival treasures, feel the energy in our praise jam, Gospel Fusion on Voice of the People Television. Tune in this Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m. and be part of a transformative experience that uplifts and inspires. Join us as we explore the transformative power of gospel music and its ability to uplift spirits and unite hearts. Tune in this Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m. on Voice of the People Television. Gospel Fusion. Let's fuse our hearts in praise and joy. We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest,
It's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand. Is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Saturday, 2 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority.
Voice of the People Television awuchiela o onye nụ ya ka ọrụ ibe ya. Ị chọrọ ịmata akụkọ ndị gbara n'akwụkwọ akụkọ dị iche iche n'ala anyị kwa ụbọchị. Ị chọrọ ịmata ka o si afịatụ na ndọrọndọrọ ọchịchị, agụmakwụkwọ, azụmahịa, ime njem, ọbụladị egwuregwu. Mgbasonyere anyị n'oge ndị Igbo na Voice of the People Television. Anyị nwere ndị ọbịa bụ ọkachamara bụkwa ndị ga-enye aka tapịa isiokwu ndị anyị jiri bịa kwa ụbọchị. Anyị ga-eji ka o siri gbaa n'akwụkwọ akụkọ dị iche iche wee malite tupu anyị akọzie n'uju n'ubi onye anyị bịara na nke ya. Ya gazere onye ukwu ma gazere onye nta. Mkparịta ụka tọrọ atọ ka anyị ga-ewetara gị bụkwa nke ga-eme ka ịmata ka ihe si aga n'ala anyị bụ Naịjirịa ọbụladị na mba ofesi. Oge ndị Igbo na Voice of the People Television ga na-abịara gị site n'ụbọchị Mọnde ruo Fraịde na SLTV Channel 264. Ekwekwala ka akọrọ gị ya akọrọ. Chetakwa na ọ bụ na SLTV Channel 264. Ugbu a ihe karịrị.
Welcome back. It's still VOP this morning. President Bola Tinubu has constituted an inter-ministerial committee to organize a full state burial in honor of late former President Muhammadu Buhari, reflecting the government's commitment to celebrating his legacy and national dignity. The committee, made up of key ministers and top government functionaries, have been tasked with ensuring a befitting ceremony that aligns with Nigeria's tradition of honoring its past leaders. However, a planned special Federal Executive Council FEC meeting to pay tribute to the late president has been postponed due to a shuddling conflict with the state funeral. This postponement has stirred conversations about the government's preparedness and coordination during this crucial period. Many Nigerians are watching closely to see whether Buhari's send-off will unite or further polarize a nation still grappling with mixed legacy he left behind. With us in the studio is Prince Francis Chilaka, who is a public and political affairs analyst. Good to have you join today's conversation.
Good morning,
Good morning, Prince Francis. Now, let me get you. I don't think I've asked this question to you before now, talking about the life and times of President Buhari when he, from the time he was a military head of state to when he was democratically elected in 2015 as the Nigerian president. Can you just give us a general view, of who do you think this man is, or what do you make of him as a person, even when he was alive?
It's a question that a lot of us cannot really answer, because as a military head of state, a lot of things happened, and to a large extent, Nigerians saw for once a purposeful leadership, which a lot of people attributed to late Itiagbo, who was his second in command. And, after that, after his tenure as a military head of state, he went into limbo. And, nothing much was heard of him until, suddenly he woke up one day and said he has become a Democrat and he wants to become president. And he kept trying to win the election, which didn't work out until 2013, 2014, 2015. And, you know, if you recall, people campaigned for him in 2013, 14, 15, free, and people really wanted him because, as at that time, Nigerians were going through a lot of insecurity issues. And, you know, once a nation is bedeviled by insecurity, people would look up to someone who can provide it for them. And, you know, he gave Nigerians the assurance, he gave Nigerians, Nigerians should trust him to be able to take them to El Dorado. But unfortunately, what we got is not what we ordered for.
So on this table, are you saying that his military, when he was there as military head of state, you know, it was more appreciated? I'm talking about his attitude or the actions or the way he ruled Nigeria at that time. Are you comparing it to this present one where he was?
No. The thing is, even while he was military head of state, he had flaws. So, but you know, we had some semblance of leadership. You know, we had this war against indiscipline. I mean, Nigerians started doing things orderly, but economically, the government was not upright. It didn't satisfy the earnings of Nigerians. You know, Nigerians started queuing for food and all of that. But in terms of the identity of being a Nigerian, I give it to the Buhari administration. But bring it back to 2015, 8 years of Buhari's government was a disaster.
What really happened at that point in time? Because Nigerians, some persons were saying that we should blame it on the fact that we have people who are not talking about democracy and they are not even willing to, you know, work with a man who actually did something good or who worked very well for Nigerians when he was a military head of state. But now, when democracy starting, is when we started having the lopsidedness in governorship or government in Nigeria.
You know, there's something about leadership, and I always say this, that you cannot be a leader if you are not willing to learn. If you don't open your horizon, you know. When the late Buhari left the military, what did he do to add value to himself? He did nothing. He didn't add value to himself. So at the end of the day, he didn't have what it takes to become a leader. He wasn't prepared.
All right.
That's the thing. He wasn't prepared. And then he gave this impression of, I am not aware. You know, when a leader says he's not aware of what's happening around his environment, then something is wrong.
Interesting.
So he was more like an absent president. When he says, I'm not aware.
Yes, because a lot of things happened under his regime. For instance, I'll tell you this. You had a minister who told Nigerians that he was going to give us a national carrier.
Okay.
And they even got him to commission a national carrier. An aircraft that didn't belong to Nigeria.
Okay.
So
all right.
That shows that he was not in charge of his government.
So more like he was absent. Now, Prince, I'm happy that we are having this conversation. Let's interrogate this because Nigerians are divided, you know, on the legacy of the current president. We are discussing his burial now, which is coming up today, and a committee has already been set up, you know, we're a nation of committees. Now, in the 8 years of his second outing, is there any one thing that you can point to as being a high point of Buhari's 8-year administration? Just one thing, no matter how infinitesimal it is, just one thing that Buhari gave to Nigerians.
I'll give him this. The only thing I think Buhari did was Buhari had that spirit of continuity.
Meaning?
He looked at projects started by his predecessor.
Okay.
And tried to, you know, see how he could finish some of them. I give that to him. That spirit of continuity. But other than that, every other thing was a failure.
When you one or two of those projects that you could point to?
Look at the second Niger bridge.
Okay.
Yes, I give that to him. He did a lot. Look at the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. He did a lot. So we can't take away that from him, you know. But what I don't want and what I don't want to hear is when people sit down and begin to eulogize him. Same people who demonized him while he was alive are the ones now coming out to sing praises of him. It's pretentious. I will not be a party to that. I am not a party to those who would say,
sorry.
No, I'm coming. I'm not a party to those who say, speak no ill of the dead. No!
It's an African thing.
It is not an African thing. It's a stupid African thing.
Okay, I'm happy you admit that it's an African thing, despite the fact that you feel that it is stupid. Now, Nigeria has been in Nigeria at a point we got to the precipice. We've been through a civil war. And there's been this clamor of let us restructure this country. You know, we need to devolve powers to the subunits and all of that. And there's one thing that Buhari did. He left. And before he left, he started the process of restructuring. You have been an ardent campaigner for the constitution to be reviewed, to be amended. Certain sections.
No, please, counter point of order.
Okay.
I am not asking for you to review that document. I am asking for you to discard that document.
And put up a new one?
Yes.
Okay, which is more like review.
No.
Now come up
it's
with
not
a new
review.
one. Okay, like deconstruction. The element of deconstructing, pull it down and rebuild it. But my question is this. Before he left, he removed the power generation, rail lines, correctional services, and I think port authorities from the exclusive legislative list, and now gave it to, put it in the concurrent, where the states and the center could legislate on those matters, make policy decisions and initiatives at those sectors. Now, wasn't Buhari, when people say that Buhari divided Nigeria, wasn't that a step in trying to unite Nigeria by saying, look, the sub-nationals, you can actually do this for yourself, instead of looking at the center all the time? Was this such a divisive president?
Buhari gives you in one hand, takes it back in the other hand. He was highly nepotistic. Buhari brought nepotism and tribalism into governance.
That's with you, because some will say that he surrounded himself with non-Fulani or non-Hausa people. In fact, he surrounded himself largely with Christians. That's what some will say. So how do you marry the two?
See, I like when people throw such questions, and I ask, what do we really want in this country? When you surround yourself with eggheads, would you have any sense of development going on? While we're sitting here, are we not even ashamed as Nigerians today that our former president died outside the shores of this country? That your former president went abroad for treatment and is coming back in a body bag? Are we not ashamed of it? Are we not ashamed that every president we've had in this country, once they have headache, they go outside for treatment? Are we not ashamed that we do not have hospitals that are working in this country? Not even the one in the villa. Are we not ashamed that?
Of course.
Are we not ashamed that today, as Nigeria,
that of course
we have no national
is a point of concern for a lot of Nigerians that Nigerian leaders, like Abdulsalami Abubakar did say that he was in the same hospital. So that of course is a point of concern.
When with due respect to Alhaji Abdulsalam, he was once a head of state. This is not what you come and tell Nigerians. It doesn't sit well.
Anyway,
that two former heads of states were in the same hospital. Assuming the two of them had passed on.
Indeed,
what would you have said?
It is a source of concern. But let's hear the view of Honorable Ejiofor Egwatu, who joins us virtually. Good morning to you, Honorable. Good to have you join the conversation. Nigeria truly in a somber mood as it is, talking about the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari. But let's trying to X-ray the life and times of the man, Buhari. Let's look at when he was a head of state, a military head of state, general. He did introduce, in the fight against war against indiscipline, he introduced the death penalty on those that were caught carrying drugs, But unfortunately, well, some would say unfortunately, others would say fortunately, as that was, a very tough punishment. But those that were affected, Bartholomew Owo and a few others, I think I have their names here. Bartholomew Owo, Bernard Ogedengbe, Lawal Ojuolakpe, they were killed at a firing squad at Kirikiri for peddling drugs. Now, some would say that if that had been continued, we would not be where we are today, where Nigerian youths are neck deep in the usage of drugs. We've seen what drug trafficking and drug abuse has done to Nigeria, the young people, and in fact, the entire country. We have a problem in the north. We have a problem down south. Now, what's your take on this, especially X-raying his fight against indiscipline?
Well, that period was an interesting one, going by the fact that so much force was used on Nigerians to instill discipline. Actually, I agree that Nigerians needed to be disciplined.
Did you say too much? Too much force?
I said so much force was used on Nigerians. Yes, because the military did not give options to any Nigerian there. But I do not also believe that the death penalty would have been a better cure to drug trafficking. There are fundamental ills in the society that necessitate and promote or push youths into drug trafficking and all the rest of them. And death penalty wouldn't have, in all the crimes, death penalty hasn't even cured some of these ills. So I wouldn't advocate for death penalty or encourage death penalty.
But you don't think that in itself would have deterred people? I mean, if that had been, if they clamped down on indiscipline, I'm not just focusing on the punishment now, but a clamp down on indiscipline, don't you think if that had been followed through over the years, we probably would have had a better Nigeria, more well-behaved people? Don't you think?
Clamp down on indiscipline is good, but individuals have fundamental human rights that must be exercised, that must be protected, that must be encouraged. So clamping down on indiscipline shouldn't be in such a manner that will prevent people from exercising their fundamental rights. That is the balance that we need to have. So what happened under the military then wasn't what it's supposed to be, even though the perceived intention was to get Nigerians to be disciplined. But we are supposed to have our rights. We are supposed to have our privileges not tampered.
Can we say the same thing about when the civilian rule began, especially the uninterrupted democratic rule that we've enjoyed for like 26 years now, since 1999? When they're talking about striking a balance and all that.
Yes, it's better this time around because people can actually contest and challenge any decision of the federal government, any decision of any government that is against their rights, against their privileges. Then it wasn't like that. But now people can really stand firm and say no, people can protest, people can say no to a lot of things. Even though it is not yet Uhuru, but people can really protest more than ever before.
October 2020, there was a killing, or rather shooting at Lekki Toll Gate, where Nigerian youth, unarmed, actually were protesting police brutality. Someone ordered that killing, and it also happened during the administration of the President, Muhammadu Buhari. And then you're saying that people can protest, people can, bring it back again to this present time also, where people who are protesting were being charged with treasonable felony. Take it back to when the President Olusegun Obasanjo was there as a civilian ruler in Nigeria. We heard what happened in Zakibiam and also what happened in Bayelsa at that particular time. Now, are used to saying that the freedom of speech, freedom of, association and right to protest and all that, which we know we should enjoy as a democratically ruled or governed nation, have not really eluded us.
It does not. This conversation we're having here now is a part of the freedom of speech that we're enjoying in democracy. Even though I accepted that it's not yet a rule. One of the turning points, one of the most disgraceful moments of the Muhammad Buhari administration was the 2020 Lekki massacre. That incident is one of the reasons most Nigerians are so bitter with the government, that people are trying to cast aspersions, even in death, on the late president.
Okay.
Some of these decisions were not what Nigerians were expecting from a perceived messiah. President Jonathan was removed because Nigerians thought that they were expecting to see a messiah in Muhammad Buhari, General Buhari, and what happened wasn't really what Nigerians were expecting, and it was devastating.
So can we still say, because the Minister for State Defense, Matawale, said something, he said that the former President Muhammad Buhari happens to be a leader who placed the country above personal need. Can we still say that now with the Defense Ministry?
If the late president placed the country above personal need, would he describe the Southeast as a dot in a circle? Will he use the 95% and 5% analogy on the Southeast? There are so many things that happen that do not really appreciate that statement.
Okay.
And the Minister of Defense, the Minister of State for Defense, the Defense Headquarters, they've been telling us a lot of things about this insurgency and crime rate and insecurity, which do not really conform with what we are seeing on ground. So I do not think that I support whatever he said. I do not think Nigerians support whatever he has said. It is his opinion. Maybe he has some other things that he has not told us that will help us to understand why he said that.
All right,
Nigerians are not seeing it that way.
Okay, Honorable, let me stay with you, and this conversation is getting quite interesting. And you have been in government before. You served as a member of House of Assembly. Am I right? Am I correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, now talking about, I asked this question because I want to help you to help us understand. People in government, how come they see things differently? It's also good that you have taken a different dimension from what others that have served in government are doing. But I would still like for you to help us understand, their mindset, open a window somehow into how they think, their thought processes. I said this because we have a former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, said that, look, Muhammad Buhari left the scene when we needed him most, when Nigeria needed him most. And Nigerians are asking how. And Goodluck Jonathan described him as a man of peace. And you were the one that talked about 97 and 5%. You were also the one that talked about, in fact, he started the Python dance in the Southeast where youths were killed and all of that. In all of this, what is the difference between people like Obasanjo and Jonathan? What is it that they see that the ordinary Nigerian does not see? Are you able to help us understand any of that?
Let me start with being in power. Political power, political office gives one a false impression of superiority. Most times, if you don't take time, if you don't have people who are around you who are able and who are ready to tell you to your face in the secret room that this is wrong, this is right, you will become obsessed with the impression that you are superior to others. But it's not really like that. It's now, why would anybody say President Buhari, late President Buhari, died when Nigerians needed him most? It is because after leaving office, we're expecting him to say things that happened inside the presidency that were not made public. It is expected that he will reveal a whole lot of things, having been out of seat, out of power. it is expected that he will write a book on his experiences, personal experiences. So it's really sad that he died at this time. So Nigerians were expecting that he will write a book. Tell us some things that IDP wrote a book. Obasanjo has done one or two letters. Jonathan has said one or two
those
things
set of states have written. Of what value can you peg it to? Because we're still having issues with the one that IBB wrote, about what really happened, what transpired during the Civil War.
This book should raise up issues. It should bring up issues for Nigerians to discuss. There are so many things that happen in government that are not revealed until after a long time. And we need to hear these things. We need to have this history so that people who are coming up will read and understand and not make the same mistakes. So we expected that late President Buhari would have written something. So it is a pity that he died now. It's the time, and at 82, as he's progressing in age, we expect that he should be remorseful of things that he feels. He will be convinced that there are things that he didn't do well. We would have the opportunity to show remorse for them. We will have the opportunity to correct certain impressions too. So it's a pity he died at this time. I will agree with that. But politics is a very sensitive game, and Nigeria is a complex society that requires a lot of tact, a lot of skill to manage.
All right then. All right then. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now let's bring it back to the studio here, where we have Prince Francis Chilaka. Now, talking about books. Like some Nigerians were reacting on social media that they would have loved to see Buhari write a book, really, about his time in office. But a book has been written already about him by Garuba Shehu, who, said, look, a few things during the review of that book that was published on Wednesday last week. He did say, he pointed to the fact that Buhari at the time turned down a 10 million naira budget for food at the presidency. I said, look, why are we spending so much on food? I'm okay with bean cake and pap. Basically, I'm okay taking akara and ogi as against 10 million naira. But we also know that in 2016, the presidency allocated 89 million naira for kitchen and catering equipment. This was part of the State House budget. Trying to get to, that one in 20, and then a total of 258 million naira was budgeted in 2016 for kitchen and catering equipment. That's a total. When you calculate a few other things that they put in there for the president and the vice president's office and the rest. Can you help us marry the two? And also, when you hear the political class speak about the life of Buhari, it's been accolades. Is this? How would you explain all of this if you're asked to explain it, which you are asked to explain it right now?
There are people when they write books, you take interest in reading it, but you don't read the book of a man who lies all his life. Garuba Shehu is not, a book written by Garuba Shehu should not even be found anywhere. A man who had the audacity to fool 200 million Nigerians with his rat story. And you want me to pick up that book and read? Or you want me to ask my kids to pick that book and read? There is nothing for the fact that you are a liar. And you have come out.
That's a tough.
No. He said it. I'm not the one that's saying it. He said it. He said he framed it. When you frame something, you are lied about it. So for the fact that you can lie, and the president, that everybody today is eulogizing,
did not debunk the lie.
Did not debunk that lie. I mean, what are we talking about?
Could it be that? I mean, if you look at the posture of Buhari in the 1980s and the posture of Buhari much later in 2015 and after, could it be that something changed? The man who fought against indiscipline Some will say later surrounded himself with people that made his administration in office look like it was not serious enough to fight crime and corruption. Okay. He also did say, if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill us. Let me
say something. When you're desperate for something, you'll be ready to go all the way.
So he dropped his morals along the way?
He was desperate to become a president. He didn't care who and what it took to make him a president. And during the campaigns, a lot of people raised those issues. Now, don't forget that as at the time Buhari became a president, age was already telling on him.
Okay.
And that is why we keep saying, we keep asking the political class, please, politicians, stop foisting old men on this nation. The mindset of the younger generation is not the same with the mindset of the old people.
So what's the role of experience?
No. You can't be an experience and sit at the back and direct. That is wisdom. That is why some of us are saying to the likes of Atiku, you won't do anything if you go there. You are old. Go and sit down. Become a godfather from the back. Advise the younger generation.
Godfatherism.
You can't throw that away from Nigerian politics. Okay. You cannot.
But that has been the bedrock of all the challenges of having in political
space. We know, but are we ready? You have a National Assembly that has suspended activities for 1 week.
And talking about that, the fact actually they are shifting the goalposts, more like they're postponing the FEC meeting. You know, we're supposed to have a FEC meeting for them to discuss and also pay tribute to the late president, but it has been postponed at this point.
And they postponed it because the burial becomes more important than every other thing.
Okay.
200,000, wait, I'm coming. 200 persons, if I'm right, died in Mokwa. Your president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has not visited Mokwa. He did not see the need to fly the flag half. 200 Nigerians. It means that the life of the Nigerian people does not matter to those in power.
Okay, Prince, you are staying back with us because we'll get into all of that. I think that's the second topic of discussion that we are dealing with. But before we leave, there's this story that I heard. You know, you analysts, you read a lot, you hear a lot of stories. So I want you to help us, you know, confirm or disabuse of this story that it's out there. I'm talking about Moses raised the issue of books. No, it was Egwuatu that raised the issue of Buhari should have written a book, and Moses brought it in. You said Garba Shehu wrote a book and all of that. Did you actually expect Buhari to sit down and write his memoir? You know, in terms of recollecting. I ask this because there's this story that is making rounds, or that made the rounds sometime, that at a point, Buhari and Abacha were sent to Russia for training. You know, and after the training period, they were sent reports. You know, so the military general that did the training sent their report and gave them in sealed envelopes and back to their GOC. And when the GOC opened it, and it was like, this officer is not trainable. The other officer is not trainable. So the Russian was surprised to come here and discover that one was head of state and the other one was chief of army staff or something like that. Did you hear any of such stories about?
Let me say this. If you, Moses and Fina, as you sit down here, and your duty is to do research,
okay,
and to ask questions, and if tomorrow you stop being a presenter, isn't it?
Okay.
And you're not adding value to yourself, you're not reading, you're not watching programs, you're not going for seminars, conferences, you're not giving speeches. And after 5 years, you're brought back to anchor shows. Do you think you add value to it?
How does this relate?
Simple question. Do you think you can add value?
No, we asked the question.
Yeah, so no. We're communicating.
Rhetorical, I guess.
But do you think you'll be able to add value? No.
So?
Now, where I'm going to is this. Forget what happened in Russia.
Okay.
Bring it back to Nigeria. When your president, your late president, stopped being a head of state, please quote me, or please direct me to one place you saw him add value to himself. Talking about writing of books, most books that are written is not that the president sits down to write. Mm. He gets people, 1 or 2 persons, and he tells them.
But at least you have the ability to dictate to someone.
Good.
To tell a story.
You can only dictate what you are aware of. If as a president, as a former president, you're telling Nigerians that you are not aware, how can you be aware of what to say? What can you be aware of what to write?
The statements are you're not aware. We also know that the president at some point did say that Emefiele acted under instructions from him. So could it be that we are misconstruing the statement of the president not being aware?
Well, if that is it, Emefiele is in court, is on bail, why have they not called the same president to come and tell them what transpired? Why was he not called?
Now that we have a president that is aware of the challenges that Nigerians are having or facing at this point in time, why are we not seeing changes? If you thought it to be that the president wasn't aware, and that actually happened to be a big problem at this point in time, we'll have the one who says, I am aware of the suffering and the pains that Nigerians are having.
I love that language. He's aware. But does he know the suffering of the people? He's aware. He bought a plane, a presidential jet worth 150 billion. He's aware. They spent 39 billion renovating an already existing structure.
And he's selling 2 planes now.
He's aware. He bought an Escalade. The only thing this president is aware of is Nigerians be patient, while those who are within his carcass live in affluence.
Interesting point you just made there. I think this is actually, I would love to ask you your concluding thought, but I guess we'll have to carry this again to the next.
Get into concluding thoughts. Let's go back to the politician in the House, Honorable Egwatu. Now, Buhari has been credited for having 12 million votes that has followed him everywhere he went. What happens to the 12 million votes? Some Nigerians are concerned that the political space might change with his death. What are your thoughts, and what happens to the 12 million votes? Who inherits it?
I do not think the 12 million votes still exist. Because he had the 12 million votes before he was president, and then people got so disappointed. If he really had 12 million votes even in death, where are the 12 million now that he's dead? What are they doing? What are they saying? So the issue of 12 million votes shouldn't even arise at all. And then 12 million, the last election, the APC didn't even get to up to 12 million.
Yeah, but it wasn't Buhari that was on the ballot.
But he was in APC, he was supporting APC. The 12 million should have...
Yes, but we also saw the role he played with the cash crunch policy and how that affected the Tinubu's campaign train at the time. But anyway, do you foresee a change in the political space going forward?
Yes, there will be a change. There will be some realignments. There are people who were sycophants to the late they will change color now. There are a lot of sycophancy being displayed in Nigerian politics. So most of the people who were sycophantic to him will start changing color in coming days and months.
By changing color?
And then, yes, there are people who were genuinely committed and dedicated to a lot of things about this ideology. We'll see them trying to realign or trying to reestablish themselves somehow into the political system. And there are so many decisions that he would have taken if he was alive on the 2027 presidency. And now that he's not there, somebody will have to lead his political family.
Who do you foresee? Who do you see?
I wouldn't want to predict. Anything can happen in politics. In recent times, we have seen it. So I wouldn't want to make any predictions. But I know that somebody will to take over the control of the political family he led in his lifetime. And certain decisions will be taken, and you know for sure it might not be the same way he would have taken them if he were here. So there are bound to be changes in the political system.
Well, we saw the likes of El-Rufai, you know, before he moved camp, before he left the APC, went to see Buhari. And do you think El-Rufai would step into those shoes?
I said I wouldn't want to predict anything, but El-Rufai has been. There was a time he was Obasanjo's own man. There was a time he was, you know, he has been through 1 or 2, 3 governments. So I wouldn't be able to place him in that regard. There are other people that I think that are very close to the late president.
All right,
politically, who might take his position now.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Igwatu Ejiofor. Now let's get into another conversation. Nigerians divided as mixed reactions trail the National Assembly shutdown of plenary 4 days. Let's talk about this when we come back.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
We are the station that brings you stories from the people's perspective.
We let your voice be heard. On Political Lens, we bring you deeper insights into happenings within the polity.
We create equality of representative opinion and fairness in politics, economic and diverse conversations.
Here, we bring you breaking news, fresh perspectives, as well as fact-based analysis.
Watch our extraordinary shows From the People's Voice, where we get to amplify the stories and content of everyday Nigerians, to hashtag.
To Health Check, where we share practical wellness tips and bring you deep insights from medical professionals.
Maritime Frontiers, we dissect issues on port operations and more.
Every time we talk about sport, it's everything that has to do with sport, from the top to the finish. Just be with us, stay with us all of the time. We give you sporting activities just as you're bold, and that's what we do, and that's what we're called. Voice of the People TV, and you already know.
We got you all covered.
Here, you have more than a voice.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand. Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP This Morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Ever wonder what inspires your favorite gospel artists? Explore and discover the rich heritage of continental gospel music and how this transformative journey has evolved and shaped cultures around the world as we dig deep into archival treasures. Feel the energy in our praise jam, Gospel Fusion on Voice of the People Television. Tune in this Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m. and be part of a transformative experience that uplifts and inspires. Join us as we explore the transformative power of gospel music and its ability to uplift spirits and unite hearts. Tune in this Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m. on Voice of the People Television. Gospel Fusion. Let's fuse our hearts in praise and joy. We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe. Hunger no get religion.
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand. Is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Saturday, 2 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority.
Voice of the People Television awuchiela o onye nụ ya ka ọrụ ibe ya. Ị chọrọ ịmata akụkọ ndị gbara n'ọkwa akụkọ dị iche iche n'ala anyị kwa ụbọchị. Ị chọrọ ịmata ka o si afịatụ na ndọrọndọrọ ọchịchị, agụmakwụkwọ, azụmahịa, ime njem, ọbụladị egwuregwu. Mgbasonyere anyị n'oge ndị Igbo na Voice of the People Television. Anyị nwere ndị ọbịa bụ ọkachamara, bụkwa ndị ga-enye aka tapịa isiokwu ndị anyị jiri bịa kwa ụbọchị. Anyị ga-eji ka o siri gbaa n'akwụkwọ akụkọ dị iche iche wee malite tupu anyị akọzie n'uju n'ubi onye anyị bịara na nke ya.
Ọzọ kedukosi ya gazero onye ukwu ma gazero onye nta.
Mkparịta ụka tọrọ atọ ka anyị ga-ewetara gị bụkwa nke ga-eme ka ị mata ka ihe si aga n'ala anyị bụ Naịjirịa ọbụladị na mba ofesi. Oge ndị Igbo na Voice of the People Television ga na-abịara gị site n'ụbọchị Mọnde ruo Fraịde na SLTV channel 264. Ekwekwala ka akọrọ gị ya akọrọ. Chetakwa na ọ bụ na SLTV channel 264 ka ị ga-ekiri Voice of the People Television. Voice of the People Television. Ugbu a ị nwere karịa olu.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth.
Come back and thanks for staying with us. And if you are just joining us, this is VOP This Morning on Voice of the People Television. Well, as Nigerians reflect on the legacy of former President Muhammadu Buhari following his death, Reactions across the country remain sharply divided. While the Ministry of Defense hails Buhari, for his selfless leadership and for prioritizing the country above personal gain, that is talking about the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawala, many Nigerians, especially on social media, are calling out a string of controversies that define his presidency, including the NSAS crackdown, Twitter ban, and the unresolved DICO affair involving corruption allegations within his inner circle. In parts of northern Nigeria, disturbing videos have emerged showing some citizens openly celebrating his death, citing disillusionment with his leadership policies, and policies that they claim deepened poverty and insecurity. Meanwhile, a rights group, Horiwa, has lambasted the National Assembly for suspending legislative duties during mourning, arguing that such blanket halts are an abuse of institutional responsibility and national productivity. While with social media buzzing and contrasting narratives dominating public discourse, Buhari's legacy appears one of the most hotly contested in Nigeria's democratic history, praised by some for integrity, but condemned by many for authoritarian tendencies and economic hardship. Well, we still have in the studio here with us Prince Francis Chilaka, a political and public affairs analyst. And from Oka, we still have Honorable Jofo Egwat, who is a former member of Anambra State House of Assembly. Gentlemen, thanks for staying with us. Prince Chilaka, it's a continuation of the first topic, more like, but on a different angle. Now, we see you are already making a take on that, but let's have your elaborate explanation of why the National Assembly had to shut down, because I'm mourning a former president, and a former president that Nigerians believe left no legacy, that Nigerians are, I'm not talking about the political class who are always protective of themselves, this kind of elite consensus. I'm talking about the average Nigerian who must have felt the impact of Buhari's administration. And they are saying this man left no legacies. Shawore said for everything Buhari touched, he destroyed. That he killed Nigerians, NSAS, Operation Python Downs in the southeast, and a whole lot of things. Clamped down on the media space and all of that. And we have a National Assembly that is shutting down to celebrate this man. Do you have any explanation for that? I know you are not a member of the National Assembly, but can you open a window into their mind to let us understand why they have to go on such a long break just to mourn somebody who, by the way, doesn't have a good place in Nigeria's memories?
When we say that the National Assembly is a rubber stamp, they get upset. They get upset. They just lose it. They feel like arresting anybody that says that. But you see, this National Assembly has not shown to Nigerians that they are ready and willing to serve. If you take attendance of senators and honorable members that come during plenaries, you'll be shocked how many people are there. Even during plenaries, you have seen some of them sleeping off. These are people who are supposed to, direct the affairs of the country by providing, laws and policies that make sense. Imagine we're shutting down the entire country for 5 days just because of the death of one man. Because of the death of a former president. And this National Assembly, they are not even worried. They are not considering the feelings of ordinary Nigerians.
I like the fact that you are very particular about him being our former president, the first citizen, number one citizen of this country. I liken it to when Nelson Mandela died. South Africa froze. When Lee Kuan Yew died, like the whole of Singapore, they were like, everybody's been offhand by the exit of one man. Why? Because he was their number one citizen. So shouldn't we also, extend that kind of respect to our former president?
With due respect to the sensibility of Nigerians, and also with due respect to these two distinguished persons you've mentioned, how do you put them side by side?
They were former presidents.
No, it's not about being a former president.
It's about what?
It's about what your presidency gives to the people. How your presidency affects the life of the ordinary citizens. In Singapore, the people who felt like orphans were the people whose lives were touched. In South Africa, you saw what Mandela did. How he brought glory to South Africa. It is what you give to the people that will determine how the people will react when you're dead.
All right, Ibrahim Midibo, who happens to join us from Abuja, actually is a politician and also a former vice presidential aide. Good morning. Let's also establish a communication with you. Good morning. Good to have you join today's conversation.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, let's get your opinion first. You know, what do you make of the man called Buhari, who happens to be the former president of Nigeria, who died at the age of 82? And after that, I would like you also to tell Nigerians how you feel about the fact that the National Assembly have shut down its plenary session for some days. And also, this happened to be for them to be able to pay tribute to the late former president of Nigeria, even when Nigeria at this point in time is being faced with, pressing needs for security, for, economic growth and every other thing that Nigerians at this point actually are crying or clamoring for.
Thank you very much, Nigeria. Good morning. My heart goes out to Nigeria, particularly the immediate family of President Muhammadu Buhari, his close associates, and compatriots for the demise of this great Nigerian. Whether we like it or not, President Muhammadu Buhari means so many things to so many people. To some, he is an institutional framework within the dynamics of Nigerian politics. President Muhammadu Buhari, whether you like him or not, as I've stated, he means different things to different people. Some people see him as a man that brings joy and happiness, especially to the masses and downtrodden, but terror and trepidation to the bourgeoisie, the capitalists and looters of this country. I have listened attentively to some of the comments of my co-panelists on the framework, or better still, the perception they have about Muhammadu Buhari. I think some of them are jaundiced, some of them are ill-conceived, and some of them do not have a true reflection of what President Muhammadu Buhari stood for. Let me tell you, I was the National Director of Publicity of ANPP 2001 to 2008. So when President Muhammadu Buhari came into the forum to join ANPP in 2003, 2002, 2003, I was there. And this is a man that commands a lot of respect in terms of honesty, in terms of integrity, and in terms of commitment to core values of the Nigerian project. You cannot fault him that this is a nationalist and somebody that believes in Nigeria. He fought the Civil War. He also went ahead to instill war against indiscipline so as to conform with the global standard of behavior. During the Buhari era, you cannot be standing on the road and just urinating anyhow. Go to any Western country or this, do you see them behave like that? He has been trying to make Nigeria great, and he has done his best. One thing that I can assure anybody in this country, and I challenge anyone, to come and tell me that, or to come and place corruption index on the personal doorsteps of President Muhammadu Buhari. I challenge anyone. Well, during my sojourn as the National Director of Publicity of this party, I can tell you that a lot of things I've learned from this man. One is timeliness when it comes to meeting, and also adhering to standard and decorum of what a politician should look like. He's a man of few words. He is a good listener. He will never be interfering in things that does not concern him. He will just sit and listen attentively to all issues. If there is a meeting that is called at 10 o'clock, Buhari will be there 10 minutes or more before 10 o'clock. When we were there, governors were coming to meet him on table. I'm coming. Let me just, yes, please.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt your train of thoughts there, but I would like to ask, as a nationalist, you talked about the war against indiscipline. Some point to there are different reactions to the firing squad of Bartholomew Owo and the other men that were caught trafficking in drugs. Some say that was a little bit harsh because they were apprehended before the law was promulgated. So there are different reactions, and some have said it was unfortunate that all those involved were from the southern part of Nigeria. Maybe if a northerner were to be involved, he wouldn't have ordered the killing of those individuals. But let's bring it down to more recent time. The NSAS, his reaction during NSAS, his reaction to Nigerian youths when he was, when the statement was credited to him that Nigerian youths are lazy. Let's also x-ray his reaction towards the clampdown of social media space when Twitter, at the time, now X, was shut down, preventing Nigerians from airing their view. How do you react to all of this?
You see, one thing that I've learned in the profession of journalism, of which I have had my doctorate degree on, is with the beauty of your questions. You ask multiple questions at the same time. And I think when you look at it from the professional viewpoint, you're supposed to, give people straight questions so that they can attend to you. Because
Doctor, the question is basically one.
Yes.
I only cited different examples, which I'm sure you understand.
There are so many things, put into one. But let me.
I'm hoping that you will help unbundle all of it, Doctor.
Yes, let me unbundle it. You see, let me tell you, the issue of President Muhammadu Buhari being looked at as a terror, as somebody that is anti-people is not true. President Muhammadu Buhari has a cult-like followership in this country, whether you like it or not. He is a man that is loved by the masses. The masses are not complaining. Anyone that you see complaining is somebody that is a looter, or better still, somebody that has some criminal tendencies. If you look at the issue of Bartholomew Owo and what have you, you'll agree with me that Nigeria at that point in time was drifting towards drug cartels, mostly perpetrated by people from the south. Have you ever seen any northerner that has been caught with drugs or engaging himself in drugs? And this is one thing that is spoiling the name of this country. Why are we not challenging China today? China is executing people. Singapore is executing people based on drugs. So why are we not concentrating on that? Why didn't we challenge it? Okay. So I want to tell you that for Nigerians to be in line and in sync with the with the thoughts of a person who is basing his thought based on nationalism and patriotic intervention in the process of good governance, like President Muhammadu Buhari, he felt Nigeria needs to be disciplined. Nigeria needs to have a strong leader that is having, the thought of bringing Nigeria to the mainstream of global politics.
Okay.
Now, looking at the issue of NSAS, let me tell you, NSAS was just coincidental. I am sure that it is not only President Muhammadu Buhari that you can lay that blame onto. Even President the Jagaban, have people not been killed? Will you place that strongly on the doorstep? It's just maybe overzealous leadership of the security apparatuses.
Okay,
They should defend the president, they should go and start killing people. No president of sane mind will tell anybody to go and kill his citizens. No.
Okay. All right, very well taken, Dr. Modibo. This the conversation is getting quite interesting. And I like the fact that you described former President Muhammadu Buhari as a nationalist. Several times you described him as a nationalist. And I would like for us to interrogate the meaning of that word, a nationalist. More like, let us even say a Nigerianist, a pan-Nigerian, somebody that had Nigeria at heart. I don't want to talk about what happened between 1983 and 1984. I would like to remain between 2015 and 2023, the most recent time. When he won election, he said, look, people that voted for me, 5% of the people that voted for me, shouldn't expect to have what 97% of the people that voted for me will get. I'm beginning to, I would like for you to help us understand how nationalist that is, because he was supposed to become a father figure the moment he won elections and became the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Did he do that? Again, in his appointments, the president called the Southeast a dot in a circle. A nationality, an ethnic nationality in this country, he described them as a dot in the circle. In terms of appointments, he clearly excluded the Southeast in the security architecture, security apparatus of this country. How nationalist was he? Was he a Nigerianist? Was he pan-Nigerian in that? I look at the president's kitchen cabinet, his personal staff. There were 9 of them. Out of those 9, 8 were from the north. And out of those 8, 7 were Muslims. There was nobody from the southeast. The only person that came from the south came from south-south. How Nigerian was President Muhammadu Buhari? If I could go on and on and on, you know, about all that he did. I mean, this was a person that was president. He went to military school in Zaria. He met people from all parts of this country, yet he couldn't forge some kind of friendship across ethnic lines. Everything the president did, he did for the North. How Nigerian was he?
You see, this question, I think you'll not be fair to President Muhammadu Buhari at all. If you know him, I'm sure you are just looking at him from a periphery and trying to mold an opinion based on sentiments. Let me tell you, what is the dividing line between a nationalist and a Nigerian? The dividing line is very thin. Or better said, there's even no distinction between the two. A nationalist is a nationalist. A Pan-Africanist is also a nationalist. A Pan-Nigerian is also a nationalist. Let me tell you, why are you not killing Jagaban, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for outlining Yoruba throughout the economic profile of this country? About 89 positions, sensitive positions, occupied by Yoruba people. You will find out that they are sensitive position that has to do with economy, everything.
When you talk about sentiments.
Wait, excuse me, let me learn. You ask your questions. Allow me, please. Why are you not objecting to that? President Muhammadu Buhari has never, ever outlined all Hausa people or Northerners in all the sensitive positions. Most of the finance minister, all this, some are from the south or southeast or southwest. Agreed.
Modibo, Dr. Modibo, it would be nice for you to, excuse me, sir. I asked the question. Excuse me, sir.
You're asking these questions and you're not allowing me to respond.
No, you are responding. I have to ask follow-up questions. Because it is important that we don't allow you to mislead the public.
No,
right? Because that's exactly what you are doing. You cannot say that President Buhari, but you are not answering the question that I asked you.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, Dr. Modibo. Dr. Modibo.
I have been in this profession for over 40 years.
Probably not longer than myself. Probably not longer than me. Probably not longer.
Years. I am sure by
see, the President Muhammadu Buhari did not equally redistribute or distribute positions. I'm telling you, the person that we are considering now is President Muhammadu Buhari, former president. May God rest his soul. Not the current president. When it gets to, probably in another discussion, we'll talk about Tinubu. For now, we are talking about Muhammadu Buhari.
Excuse me, there is a philosophical thinking of Joseph Ayana, who stated that if experience is not retained, infancy is perpetual. Those that forget the past are doomed to repeat it.
I just cited instances. I say I was being sentimental. How sentimental? Did you debunk those facts?
That is not true.
Did you debunk those facts?
Excuse me,
for his 8 years, was there anybody from the southeast that was part of the security architecture, Dr. Modibo? Just one person for 8 years. Answer me, sir.
Excuse me.
Dr. Modibo, for 8 years, was there anybody from the southeast that was part of Buhari's security architecture? Yes or no?
As it is today, you can't ask me a yes or no question. This is not objective.
No, but I'm putting a fact before you.
No. Allow me to express myself. You see, you are being sentimental.
No, you are the one that is being rather sentimental here, sir.
Coming from the southeast,
No, you coming from the north. Coming from the north. You are the one that is being sentimental here, sir.
You see, your own is to ask questions, and allow me to answer.
You are not answering my questions. And
I
will
am
not allow you to
questions.
misinform the public.
No.
National
You
TV.
see, let me tell you, you are being sentimental.
You are the one,
coming
sir.
from the southeast. You are coming from the southeast.
You are coming from the north.
You
are
should
being
allow
sentimental.
me. Good, but allow me to express myself. That's the beauty of this democracy. You should allow me to express myself, because for long you people have been attacking Buhari, attacking the north, of which is very, very unfair. Now, I agree. The Southeast has not given the APC government any votes that will warrant them, because this democracy.
Exactly the point. So he wasn't a nationalist. He wasn't a nationalist.
No, he was. Of course. Are you saying that there was no Igbo person in the whole government of?
In the security architecture, was there one?
No. Must it be in security architecture?
Why not?
Is Tinubu giving? Why is Tinubu not giving any Southeasterner as of today?
The chief of naval staff is from the south. Is from Enugu State. The chief of navy staff is from Enugu State. Are you not aware of that? What does it depend on, sir?
Look, what value has he added to Southeast? Tell me.
Okay,
what value?
For the 8 years that Buhari gave all the security architecture to the north, what value did they have? He left us with bandits.
Look,
he left us with kidnappers. He left us with insurgents.
It is not true.
So what is true, sir? What is true?
It's your personal perception. It's your own perception.
So what is sentiment. Okay, tell me the reality. If it is my perception, what is the reality?
Yes. What is the reality,
sir?
When Goodluck Jonathan was the president, bombs were flying left, right, and center. And in fact, the Boko Haramis were even approaching Abuja. But during the Buhari era, he has been able to control it, conquered everything, and took care of the security architecture that no more bombings again in Abuja. True or false? I challenge you, tell me. Now, with the security architecture you are talking about, of what value is the security man, especially now? We have the northerners, easterners, and all that put together. What value have they added to Nigeria in terms of security architecture? Nothing. Today, everywhere, banditry, killings, bombings, everywhere today. Nigeria is more insecure today than any other time in the life history of this country. And let me tell you, whether we like it or not, history, because of President Muhammadu Buhari, either dead or alive, there was nobody, no Nigerian, dead or alive, that God has abundantly blessed in terms of appointments, in terms of fulfillment of the yearning and aspiration of the masses like President Muhammadu Buhari. I challenge anybody, a minister, a governor, GOC, head of state as military, president as civilian, as a civilian.
A question fielded by my colleague in the studio about the fire squad. You said something about the northerners not indulging in illicit drug taking or drug abuse, because the recent report I have from the NDLEA, made it so clear that North Central happens to be the highest consumers, of drug or illicit drug in Nigeria. I'm talking about Kwara State. And when you talk about the North actually not being involved in this, it's more like misinforming the public and all that. Now let's take this back to Honorable Egwatu. Honorable Egwatu, you're a politician, a former member of Anambra State House of Assembly at this point in time. I want you to tell us how you feel about the fact that the plenary session has been suspended in Nigeria for some days because of the burial of the president. I have so many things actually that is bedeviling the nation that Nigerians are clamoring for the National Assembly to look into, but they decided to go on a plenary session just for, tributary's sake.
Well, I appreciate the fact that the National Assembly is giving honor to whom honor is due. I appreciate the fact that the National Assembly is mourning deeply the terrible loss of their former president. The former president deserves all the honor, all the privileges that he should get, even in death. So I appreciate that fact. When you serve Nigeria, no matter how your tenure is, there are bound to be people who agree and people who do not agree to your standards, to your principles, to your ideologies, to whatever that you did. But honor is deserving to whom honor is due. But I would want the National Assembly to also honor 200 people who died in Plateau, people who died. There are people who die every day in terror attacks. Large number of people, they should find a way to honor those people too. They are Nigerians, they deserve honor too. One of the things that will make every Nigerian strive to be patriotic is the fact that the nation respects the list of the individual, and the same way it honors the top echelon of the society. So having a recess for 5 days, I think 5 days is too much. Too much. There are too many things that the National Assembly can do other than a 5-day recess or 7-day recess, as the case may be. I think it's too much. It's good to honor the president, but having a 7-day thing is not a. But let me make a comment on our dear Dr. Modibo from Abuja studio. I appreciate him. He's bringing a different perspective to this interview and makes it interesting. But when you say nobody can bring any corruption to pin any corruption to the doorstep of the president, late President Muhammad Buhari, I won't argue that. But the president is in charge. The president is in charge. He is the chief executive. He gives instructions, and so he should have big responsibility for any action that is taken under his. When the time comes, we'll review the current president. There is still time. We'll still do that.
Honorable,
Yeah,
we are coasting home now. So since we are with you at the moment, we'd like for you to give us your concluding thoughts on the conversation, the man and the life of Muhammad Buhari. We also, and this goes to all other guests, which includes Dr. Modibo, if you can hear me. Well,
I can hear you very well.
Let's also touch on the fact that during Buhari's time in office, we've had cases of NNPC not being audited, funds taken from the NNPC, monies taken from the CBN, and all of this under the former president's watch. Is it that he surrounded himself with people that were not pious enough, and could that have tainted his own image? Well, let's have concluding thoughts now from Honorable Ejiofor Igwatu. And please keep it short.
With the family of the late president. It's a terrible loss at this point. At the age of 82, we expect that as an elder, we'll come to him for consultations and get advice and get grab knowledge of his experiences. It's a pity God has taken him at this time. Commiserate with the family. And then we plead with every Nigerian leader at every point. You see, leadership, everybody is a leader in his own right. Every Nigerian should see leadership as an opportunity to serve, to give all that you can, respecting the laws of the land and being very objective, not being subjective in any manner or form, so that the betterment of Nigerians will be paramount in your actions, in your activities.
All right, then.
So we appreciate VOP for giving us this opportunity.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Ejiofor Igwatu. Dr. Modibo, please. Ibrahim, go ahead, please.
All right. Based on the question the other lady spoke about earlier, you see, President Muhammadu Buhari, as at that point in time, remember, it was 1984-85. Then there was nothing like drugs in the north at all. It was a southern affair. And therefore, to take care of the issues at stake, he believed that he should respond to it based on international standard, which has to do with people like China and all this. And it brought the whole thing to an end. Now, finally, as we are rounding up, I want Nigerians to know that President Muhammadu Buhari, as a nationalist and as somebody that has given his best to this country, honestly and sincerely, will feel the pains of losing such a figure who could give advice and necessary guidance to our younger politicians. Because if you look at the issue of corruption that this gentleman was talking about, as at the point when he was the military head of state, he jailed people 900 years. He confiscated their properties and made it a national issue, despite the fact that irrespective of you coming from any zone, mostly northerners were affected. But at the end of the day, when President Ibrahim Babangida torpedoed him, the military president, what happened? Babangida gave back all the properties, all the monies to these people. So Muhammadu Buhari got learned about history based on what Babangida did, which was not a nationalistic project. So what he did, after becoming a civilian, he said, look, there's no need for me to start killing people or to start collecting their this thing, and then only for another president to come and give it back. I'm happy that he came with 3-point agenda: insecurity, fighting of the issue of insecurity, the issue of economy on the table, and also fighting corruption, which is very fundamental. But in this government today, I don't see anything about fighting or corruption. It's only fighting maybe perceived enemies, and also aligning itself.
Get back to the studio. We must thank you. We must thank you.
It is a southern affair.
I did plead that we kept our contributions brief, and this has this. I hate for us to make this a northern-southern affair. It's not a northern-southern affair. We're talking about Nigeria as a whole. We are not here to divide the country. Prince Francis Chilaka, let's have your concluding thoughts, and please do keep it brief.
I don't pretend. And I don't like when political gladiators and political leaders pretend. The reason why we are where we are today is because we lie to ourselves. Our leaders lie to the public, and then the public lie to themselves. If you as a leader have not done well, you may not even be a leader. As an individual, if you have not done well when you are alive, why would people speak good of you when you are dead? That is where I have a problem. Talking about 1984,
Aisha Buhari did say that in his dying bed, Buhari did ask her to plead to Nigerians on his behalf to forgive him.
I'm not talking about, it's not, see, we're not talking about issue of forgiveness. We're saying that late President Muhammadu Buhari had 2 years since he left office to have given that apology himself. It's the truth. What I'm saying is that we must be able to tell the truth when alive and even when the person is dead.
Thank you very much, Prince Francis Chilaka. This is how far we can stretch today's program. It's been elongated for obvious reasons. Today, the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, will be laid to rest. We do understand that he's being brought back and should be in Nigeria at about midday, and by 2 p.m. Would be laid to rest. Well, may his soul rest in peace. We must say a very big thank you to you, Prince Francis Chilaka, and also Honorable Ejiofor Igwatu, former member, Anambra House of Assembly, and also Dr. Ibrahim Modibo, who is a politician and former vice presidential candidate. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time and your thoughts on the program. On behalf of my colleagues, Chukwumankoro, welcome back, and also Fina Okechukwu, I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now. Join us again at 10 for Newspaper Review.